to go again.
Well, that's the key word then, I guess, motivation. You mentioned everything, those credentials behind us. What is it that you think does motivate him?
I guess for Pep, it's about winning more trophies. It always has been. He knows he's judged on that. He talks about, I mean, the records are one thing. I've asked him many times at different points in his career about plenty of these different records. I've asked him about what it means to him. And while he loves the accolades, he is all about just working with his players. He loves being in the dressing room with them. He loves coming up with game plans to try and take the team to another level to win these trophies. I mean, obviously winning the Champions League, the treble, was remarkable, wasn't it? That was something that was the one outstanding thing on his CV at City. To do that in the way they did was quite magnificent. And I think the motivation and the hunger will come from the fact they're in a bad place at the moment. They've lost 4 games in a row. It's the first time as a manager he's ever suffered 4 consecutive defeats. He will be desperate to turn around to all the naysayers, avenge those defeats, City to kick on and show him again that ruthless side that they bring, particularly once we get past Christmas and into the new year.
You mentioned the run of form that they're on. Do you think come the summer, whether he turns it round or not in terms of trophies, that there is quite a bit of a rebuilding job to do for him?
It certainly feels that way. I think this summer, the club and Pep were always adamant that they were not going to be rushing into the transfer market when the team was so successful, when they had a lot of the building blocks in place. A lot of the speculation was whether they would move in the summer for a backup to Rodri, for example, because he's the one player that you'd feel, take out that team, they're weaker. Well, they couldn't have predicted the injury, of course, but you look at that midfield now and you think they're probably a little bit light. And then you look at the players coming to the end of their contracts, and in the summer, there are some big names potentially leaving. Kevin De Bruyne, a man who has been integral to what Pep has achieved across all of the teams he's built. He was the only player that was there before Pep took over, essentially, that's been through this whole journey with him. And he has been struggling with injury. He's out of contract. How do you replace De Bruyne? I mean, that's a huge question. Ilkay Gundogan's come back for a second spell. Yes, it's not been quite as successful as the first, but obviously an important player, and Scott Carson. But then fast forward to 2026, that's when we've got really big names. Ederson, the goalkeeper that has transformed City, transformed the way we look at football in the country. Stefan Ortega is deputy. They're both out of contract. That's a huge decision, because do you stick with one or the other? How do you convince both to possibly stay? Ederson obviously linked with the move in the summer. Kyle Walker, John Stones, trusted lieutenants, players he loves, loads of experience for England. They're out of contract in 2026 as well, and Bernardo Silva too. These are big players. It's going to take an evolution, if not a revolution. And how many transfer windows will that take for City to build what will be, I think, Pep's 4th big team?